What if your entire fall garden could thrive, without stress, without second guessing, and without constant chaos, just by repeating the same simple routine every week? Sounds too easy, right? Most gardeners fall behind in fall, not because they're lazy, but because they don't have a system. One skipped watering, one unnoticed pest, one missed succession planting. That's all it takes to unravel months of effort. But here's the wild part. You don't need to master every plant, pest, and fertilizer. You just need a rhythm, a cycle, a weekly checklist that does the thinking for you. And that's exactly what this video delivers. Fall gardening might seem calmer than spring, but don't let the cooler temperatures fool you. This is the season where details make or break your harvest. Unlike spring, there's no second chance. Once the first frost hits or your soil dries out, it's game over. Without a weekly routine, gardeners tend to react, watering only when plants droop, checking for pests only after damage appears, planting only when there's a free moment. The result? Missed windows, wasted seeds, frustration. A fall routine flips that script. It gives you a rhythm to follow, a reliable pattern that ensures nothing slips through the cracks. With just a few focused tasks each week, you can extend your harvest, reduce plant stress, and keep your garden productive well into the colder months. Think of it like setting your garden on autopilot, with you still in control. Before we dive into the weekly checklist, let's break down the 4 essential categories every successful fall gardener needs to cover, consistently. These are the pillars your entire routine will stand on. First, watering, without overdoing it. Fall's cooler temperatures mean less evaporation, but don't be fooled. Inconsistent watering still causes split veggies, bitter greens, and root rot. Your routine must include checking soil moisture before it becomes a problem. Not too much, not too little. Just enough at the right time. Second, pest and disease checks. Fall is sneaky. Aphids, cabbage worms, and fungal diseases love the damp mornings and cozy foliage. A quick but intentional inspection each week can save your whole crop. Think of it like catching fires when they're just sparks. Third, feeding and soil boosting. Many gardeners stop feeding once summer ends, but your fall crops are still hungry. Compost tea, diluted fish emulsion, or worm castings can fuel strong growth right up to harvest. Healthy soil isn't a set-it-and-forget-it deal. Fourth, succession planting and strategic replacements. Fall is a moving target. Some crops finish early, others get taken out by pests or cold snaps. Succession planting gives you second and even third chances, if you act weekly. No space should sit empty when cool season stars like spinach, radish, or mustard can step in. These 4 categories will guide every week of your fall routine. They're not overwhelming when broken down. You just need a system to touch each one, in small bites, week after week. Week 1, the foundation week. This is where it all begins. Week 1 isn't about doing everything. It's about setting the stage so your fall garden can thrive with minimal effort in the weeks ahead. Here's what to focus on. 1. Deep watering and soil check. Before you get into any regular watering rhythm, give your garden a deep, even soak. This helps roots establish deeper and prepares the soil for consistent moisture retention. Then test drainage, especially in raised beds. If water pools, now's the time to amend with compost or sand. 2. Full pest and disease sweep. Think of this as your baseline inspection. Look under leaves, check for chew marks, aphids, or white powdery mildew. Document what you find. Photos help. This gives you a reference point for changes in the weeks ahead. 3. Feed the soil. Add compost or a gentle organic fertilizer to boost your soil before fall crops kick into full gear. If your soil is depleted from summer, consider adding worm castings or kelp meal to restore balance. 4. Plan your succession strategy. What's coming out soon? What can go in next? Identify which spaces will open up and which crops are fast enough to mature before frost. Think radishes, spinach, baby bok choy, and arugula. Week 1 is your prep week, the calm before the rhythm kicks in. Get this right, and the rest of the fall becomes smooth sailing. Week 2, observation plus early action. With your foundation in place, week 2 is about tuning in to subtle changes. This is when your garden starts responding to your efforts, and when small problems are easiest to fix. 1. Check soil moisture, not just surface level. Use your finger or a moisture meter to test a few inches deep. If it's dry below the surface, it's time to water. Aim for deep, less frequent watering to encourage strong root systems, especially for root crops like carrots and beets. 2. Inspect for early pest signs. This is where your week 1 photos or notes come in handy. Are there more aphids than last week? New holes in kale leaves? Treat immediately using organic methods like neem spray, insecticidal soap, or hand picking. Fast action now prevents major damage later. 3. Feed lightly, only if needed. If your plants are looking pale, stunted, or slow to grow, give them a diluted dose of liquid fertilizer, but don't overdo it. Fall growth is slower by nature. Nourish, don't flood. 4. Plant a second round. If any space has opened up or you're approaching harvest on early crops, now's the time to sow another round of quick growers. Radishes, mustard greens, turnips, and lettuce are great picks for fast fall turnaround. This week is all about awareness and nipping issues in the bud. Small tweaks now save you big time and heartache later. Week 3. Growth and consistency. By week 3, your garden is in motion. Seedlings are sprouting, pests may be lurking again, and the weather could shift quickly. This is your moment to reinforce healthy growth with steady consistency. 1. Maintain a smart watering routine. Check soil moisture mid-week and adjust based on your crop needs and weather. Root vegetables and leafy greens need different moisture levels. Pro tip: water early in the day to reduce fungal risk and help plants dry before cool nights. 2. Continue pest monitoring. Add traps if needed. If you spotted pests last week, escalate your defense. Use yellow sticky traps for whiteflies and aphids, or introduce beneficial insects like ladybugs or parasitic wasps. Fall pests don't quit, so neither can you. 3. Feed leafy greens. If you're growing spinach, kale, or chard, a mild nitrogen boost, like compost tea, helps fuel lush green growth without overwhelming the soil. Root crops? Hold off. They prefer leaner soil to develop properly. 4. Thin and replant. By now, some seedlings may be overcrowded. Thin them to their proper spacing and transplant any strong extras to new spaces. If you notice any gaps from failed germination, reseed those spots now. There's still time for a solid fall crop. Week 3 is about trusting the process and keeping the momentum going. Small actions, big impact. Week 4, mid-season adjustments. Week 4 is your midpoint check-in, a time to evaluate, pivot, and optimize before it's too late. Fall gardens don't forgive procrastination, but they reward timely tweaks. 1. Reassess watering needs. Cooler nights and shorter days mean your soil may hold moisture longer. This week, reduce watering frequency slightly, but ensure each session is deep and even. Overwatering now can cause root rot and mildew in crowded fall beds. 2. Review pest pressure and clean up debris. Pests tend to hide in fallen leaves and rotting plant matter. Remove any yellowing or diseased foliage, prune lower leaves off brassicas, and keep walkways clear. If pests are persistent, consider using row covers or applying diatomaceous earth around sensitive crops. 3. Refresh the soil, if needed. If you've been growing quick cycles of greens or radishes, your soil may be getting tired. Scratch in a bit of compost or top dress with worm castings. This gives your mid-season plantings the boost they need without disturbing roots. 4. Fill in final gaps. This is your last good window to plant super fast fall crops, like radish, baby greens, and certain Asian vegetables, tatsoi, mizuna. Choose varieties with 30 days or less to maturity and get them in now to beat the frost clock. Week 4 is where smart gardeners separate from the pack. Don't just maintain, refine. Week 5. Prepare for weather swings. Week 5 marks the beginning of unpredictable territory. One day it's sunny and mild, the next you're dealing with chilly winds or sudden frost warnings. This week is all about weather readiness, because fall doesn't wait. 1. Monitor the forecast closely. Start checking your 10-day forecast every few days. Know your average first frost date, but don't rely on it. Microclimates can surprise you. If temps dip below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius, be ready to act. 2. Set up protection. Have row covers, garden fabric, or cloches ready. Even a simple plastic bin or an old bedsheet can shield tender greens overnight. Install hoops now so you're not scrambling in the dark when frost hits. 3. Adjust watering accordingly. If rain is in the forecast, skip watering. Too much moisture paired with cold leads to fungus and root issues. On dry, windy days, a quick check in the morning ensures your plants aren't drying out from air exposure. 4. Prioritize quick harvests. If you're growing crops close to maturity like lettuce, herbs, or baby greens, begin harvesting small amounts regularly. Better to enjoy a partial harvest than lose it all to a cold snap. In week 5, your most valuable tools are preparedness and flexibility. A well-timed cover or quick harvest can make the difference between thriving and failing. Week 6, final push and transition planning. By week 6, the end of your fall growing season is in sight. But this isn't the time to coast. It's your chance to maximize what's left while setting the stage for winter and even early spring success. 1. Harvest heavily and often. Start a regular harvest rhythm, especially for leafy greens and quick crops. Many fall veggies taste best before a hard frost, sweeter, crisper, and more tender. Cut and come again crops like spinach and arugula can keep producing if picked strategically. 2. Pull spent or struggling plants. Remove any crops that are clearly past their prime or failing to thrive. Don't waste nutrients or space, use it for cover crops, mulch layers, or protective cloches. A tidy bed is easier to manage in cold weather. 3. Apply final soil amendments. If you won't plant a winter cover crop, add compost or shredded leaves now to replenish your soil. You can also sow cold-hardy green manures like crimson clover or winter rye for long-term soil health. 4. Protect, insulate, or clear beds. Decide now, which beds will you cover and protect and which ones will rest. Mulch heavily around overwintering garlic, leeks, and kale. Insulate containers or move them to sheltered areas. Drain and store hoses before the first freeze. Week 6 is your transition week, from active growing to thoughtful closing. What you do now sets the tone for winter rest and spring readiness. You don't have to remember everything we covered, because I've turned it all into a simple, printable weekly fall garden maintenance checklist you can use again and again. Each week is broken down with quick checkboxes. Grab your free download using the link in the description below, print it, laminate it, stick it on your garden shed or clipboard. This is the tool that takes the guesswork out of gardening and turns chaos into calm. If this routine helped simplify your fall garden, hit like button, share and subscribe for more seasonal guides. What week are you in right now? And what's your biggest fall challenge so far? Drop a comment, and let's troubleshoot together. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to check my other video on 10 fall gardening mistakes to avoid, because even the best checklist won't help if you're unknowingly sabotaging your soil.